Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today I have the pleasure of Dr. Subramanian Swamy's company. We are going to go back to our Prime Minister series where Dr. Swamy remembers the various Prime Ministers of India. Haradanahalli Dodda Gowda Deva Gowda, born in 1933, became Chief Minister of Karnataka for the first time in 1995, and Lady Fortune smiled on him in 1996. He was the Prime Minister of India. To talk about Sri Devagowda's ascendancy and thereafterwards and how it all started, we will go to Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Dr. Swamy, welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you.
So where did it all begin, sir, for Sri Devagowda?
Well, I first came to know Devagowda when the Janata Party was formed. He was in Congress O, that is the split that came with Morarji Desai and Nijindappa and others and Kamaraj and others. And he was already known as a farmer's leader at that time, but strictly localized. But after 77, he came into prominence. Of course, the Janata Party could not win Karnataka Assembly elections. It was won by Devarajars. Then in the early 80s, by then the BJP was formed by ex-Chansangis. I didn't go because Mr. Vajpayee wanted the ideology to be Gandhian socialism. And I had joined Jansangh because it was neither Gandhian nor socialist. So I said, I can do it. So the RSS was sympathetic to this idea that I stay out till the ideology of BJP changes. So I was the General Secretary of the Janata Party. So in 1983, the Karnataka Assembly elections were due, and Bommai was the state president. So as today, but that time, unlike that time, this time of course Mr. Amit Shah didn't want me anywhere campaigning. I don't know why, when the demand was the maximum. But at that time Bommai pleaded with me that I should campaign with him.
Viewers, this is the Bommai of the Bommai judgment that gets frequently quoted.
That's right.
Yeah, please continue, sir.
So Bommai and I traveled by car, practically every nook and corner of the state. Devagowda, of course, concentrated on his Mysore and that area, and did very well when the results came out. We were very near majority, and BJP had a small number. Those days BJP was almost zero in Karnataka. And so with the help of the outside support of BJP, we expected that Devagowda would be made the chief minister. But out of the blue, Ramakrishna Hegde, who was nowhere in the campaign, I don't think he even contested, except I think his girlfriend contested from Udupi and she lost the election. And losing in Udupi for us was something very rare. So, but I don't know what came over Chandrasekhar, and sometimes these politicians don't want mass leaders as in positions where they could become a challenger. I don't know, it might have been gone through his mind. So he plunked for Devagowda. I just plunked for Ramakrishna Hegde. Devagowda was heartbroken, so I consoled him. I said it's only a matter of time, and that's how we were thinking. After that, he called me for a few meetings here and then. Friendship grew, and when he came to Delhi, he would come and drop in for coffee. So, then this VP Singh factor came, and VP Singh was kicked out of Congress, and he now wanted to take over as Janata Party president. And I resisted that because I said VP Singh has nothing to do with building this party. He was on the opposite side of us in the emergency.
It was an opportunistic...
Yeah, totally. I mean, he was kicked out, so he was looking for a place to... And that too with Arun Nehru, who was a great, in fact, anybody who made a lot of money out of Bofors, it was him, and he went scot-free. So but I resisted. But then Hegde was already thinking, dreaming now, having become chief minister of the only opposition state in the whole country. That was the situation at that time, where Congress was in power, everybody else. So he began dreaming of becoming the next prime minister. So at that time, he thought that since in the party, VP Singh will have no say, but he will have a lot of external influence, so he can ride on his pigtails. And so he plunked for the VP Singh becoming the president of the Janata Party. In the end, what happened is that the party got split, and I, Deve Gowda, Indubai Patel from Gujarat, a few stayed out, and we were then the inheritors of the Janata Party. I became the president, and Deve Gowda became the state president. That time, soon after, in I think it was 1989, the assembly elections came, because Ramakrishna Hegde's term was over. He was anyway Ramakrishna Hegde. I had removed him on telephone tapping, and I was also conducting a corruption case against him on land. And this land fraud that Ramakrishna was doing was actually, the documents were all supplied to me by Deve Gowda, who had all these Gowda employees in the corporation who had analyzed it. So we worked very closely. I was practically having dinner and lunch in his place, discussing how to put it across and so on. And we also used to tour around, because we had now an independent party, the Janata Party. And so Mr. Hegde was indicted, and Deve Gowda was very happy. Deve Gowda used to say one thing: Hegde is a Brahmin, and if I attack him, they will word of mouth say this is Vokaliga, Brahmin context. So if you do it, nobody will mind it. You are a superior Brahmin to his, that sort of thing, you selling me an idea. So, but he was very simplistic, I mean, Deve Gowda, one thing about him, is a very simple guy, very simple life, very hardworking. And then when I removed him, he was very, very happy. And so after that, I don't know what happened to Deve Gowda. I think basically Deve Gowda had one weakness. He thought politics was like Jayalalitha, he thought politics was largely money driven. And I had no money. So whatever money I gave him to fight the elections in the 1989 elections, which we did badly in terms of being nowhere near majority. I think we got some 15-20 seats. But we also got about 15% vote.
Yeah, that is the important thing. 15% vote is...
15%. So he now began getting very... So one day suddenly I find from newspapers he had gone and surrendered to Ramakrishna Hegde.
Yes.
So he told me, what can I do? You are all India, you can move anywhere, this, that. I gave all the usual arguments. So when he joined Mr. Hegde, then by then VP Singh was zero. He had already become Prime Minister and lost the power, and I had become the senior most minister in Chandrasekhar's government. Chandrasekhar also at that stage further accelerated that by refusing to make him minister in the central government.
Even though he was the Prime Minister?
Chandrasekhar was Prime Minister. He gave me I asked Chandrasekhar why not, and he said, well, he's not an MP.
Oh, okay.
So I said, but he can become an MP after 6 months.
Right.
No, then everybody will want to be. So I said, he's not everybody, but he's no, you leave him to me. So that's how, I think that broke Deve Gowda's house. He used to spend those days practically the whole day in my house in Delhi. In fact, my cook, the lady cook, I mean, she's from I think Bihar. So she used to be our cook, and Deve Gowda used to arrive while I was in the office, wait for me to return. So those 5-6 hours he would spend at my house, he would go on demanding tea and sitting in the kitchen with her. You see, but he couldn't speak one word to her because she didn't know English and he didn't know Hindi. You see, okay. So one day suddenly, 1995 elections. Now with part of the Janata Dal, with VP Singh practically out. VP Singh in fact was sick, he was on dialysis and things like that. So that there was a election in which Narasimha Rao lost, and then the question is Vajpayee staked a claim, and Shankar Dayal Sharma had some deal with him, I think, and invited him to form the government when he had no chance in hell to get majority. So for 13 days, Vajpayee was Prime Minister of India, and then he lost. When the floor test came, he just resigned. Like now, Yediyurappa's done.
At that time, were you in Rajya Sabha?
I was not in Rajya Sabha. I was not in Parliament, and it was 1996. And I came second in my constituency, standing all alone. The reason I didn't come first is that Karunanidhi in Madurai, he wouldn't let my vote be counted. And those days we had the ballot papers. So, I had all youngsters, boys, new people. These guys are all ustads. You see, we call DMK Tilumulu Karagam, which means.
It's a new definition for DMK.
So they literally cheated me out of the. So I wasn't there, but I came subsequently, got elected after in 1998. But at that time I was not.
So 96, back to 96.
96.
How did his name come up in the?
Yeah. So what happened is after Vajpayee resigned, the evil mind in that was the communist called Harkishan Surjit. And Harkishan Surjit always wanted a rubber stamp prime minister so that he could control them from outside. And so Deve Gowda became the obvious candidate. There were other contenders like Mupanar and all, but Surjit manipulated. Later on, he manipulated to get Inder Gujral, who was another ruthless politician who used to be sitting all the time in the India International Center. So Surjit was the one who brought him in.
But as a Prime Minister, how do you think his record was?
He was good, you see. The thing is, he was, in a simplistic way, he did many good things. For instance, an area which I never thought he had any capacity, he did wonderfully with China. The confidence building measures that he instituted, Jiang Zemin had come, it was very good. And then he also endeared himself, he went to that World Economic Forum in Davos.
Davos. Yeah.
In the height of winter, he went in dhoti, in a veshti, you see. So, but he was, for instance, on Bofors. Now, Congress was supporting him. Of course, Narasimha Rao was still alive and he was still the president at that time. But with the Congress supporting, he allowed the CBI director to go and bring back all those boxes which had been waiting since 1990.
I see.
For being picked up and brought. So Joginder Singh was the CBI director, he went and brought. Chidambaram.
Where were they?
Huh?
Where were they?
They were in Switzerland.
Oh,
the Switzerland court had directed that they all be given, which was deposited in a Swiss bank, these boxes for safekeeping. So Joginder Singh brought in. Another thing where I found Deve Gowda showed his character was Chidambaram was hell-bent on sending me to jail.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that I was an associate of Chandra Swamy. So he told Joginder Singh that Chandra Swamy is being prosecuted, so since he is a friend, he should also be made an accused, and then later on we can let him. He was basically keen I should go to jail for one day at least. So I'll take my revenge, don't worry, very soon. I'll send him for a long time. But now Joginder Singh got nervous, so he went straight to Deve Gowda. I told him this man is asking me. So Deve Gowda asked him, give me the file, which Chidambaram had sent for implementation. So he took the file and put it in his drawer and locked it, and then called me. And he said that, I've told Chidambaram, I called him just now. I told him, what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing? You'll topple my government. This man will make sure that our government doesn't exist. And then he pulled out a drawer and said, see, the file is here, putting it here, and then put it in his jibba inside the key. So, he stood up for me. So I have not forgotten that. The only person who still couldn't get reconciled in those days was my cook. She said, I can't believe he's Prime Minister. And he saw his picture. So, he's a very simple person, but a man of tremendous common sense. And he conducted himself quite well. There were not even there must have been some money taken by him, because he was always crazy about money. He thought money is not for himself, but for politics and and buying people, so on. But there was not a whiff of corruption with him. And suddenly, I think Surjit might have thought that he is, after the Bofors papers came, that now, because Sonia was on warpath, and so they decided to pull the support and brought the Deve Gowda government down.
So it was not the fact that DMK was implicated in the...
No. That was with Gujarat.
Oh, no, I thought that was why Gowda went.
No. Gowda went because Jogendra Singh was given permission to go and get those boxes and bring them back. But those boxes are still sealed and they're still not been opened. Can you believe that?
Really?
I think he's lasted a year, I think. And his last speech in Parliament was a very good speech, where he ridiculed Kesari as an old man in a hurry. And he quoted from London Times and all. People must have prepared it for him. But anyway, he spoke very well, and he went out. And I don't think he ever, after that, was a factor in national politics. He just went back and settled down.
This is really amazing. We haven't seen this side of Sri Deve Gowda, because these things don't get written up.
Yes,
but at least for the younger generation, he was a man of principle.
Yeah. Very great simplicity, very sentimental. He was most unlike most politicians. The only thing about him was he had that village person's doubt about the city man.
Yes.
So he distrust of people who are sophisticated, smart. The only exception, I think, is myself, and maybe because I dressed like a villager in dhoti kurta and kurta pajama, that sort of thing. But otherwise, and then as a host, he was brilliant. His house dinners were terrific. So I think now that he's, close to 90, he has done very well. From where he came, a lot of denial did take place for him. He should have been Chief Minister in '83, and he should have lasted longer as a Prime Minister, because there was nothing against the government. The only thing I told him that I have against you, I told Deve Gowda, is that you made a crook like Chidambaram as Finance Minister. He said, what could I do? It was all quota. I didn't have absolute majority. I know he's a rogue, but see what I earned his enmity after what I did to protect you. And I said, yes, but what you should have sacked him for filing a false case. What does it mean that I'm a friend of Deve Gowda, therefore I must be guilty also? The friend of Chandra Swamy. Yeah.
Right.
I should therefore protect him. So generally speaking, when we meet now in Parliament, he's still a member of Parliament. He is very cordial when he sees me, and he speaks very well of me to various people. he keeps telling me that I feel that Modi has made a big mistake in not making him finance minister. And he says, I know you, I know the common sense way which you have explained in the meetings that we have jointly addressed, and so on. So he's a good friend, but his feeling is that power can be stolen, and therefore everything should be within the family. And these are some of these village qualities, but otherwise as man, he was a wonderful man.
So let's hope that deja vu doesn't happen, and the same party is now giving him outside support in Karnataka. I mean, presumably,
we don't know.
We don't know yet. Presumably,
many a slip between the cup and the lip.
Right. So, well, that's it for now, and we'll be back with more prime ministers after a few days. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Swamy.
Bye.